one of the big stories of the day, which has to do with the procurement woes of the gentleman who was in charge of the Public Procurement Authority. So the news is that he has been served with a whole host of charges, and you were on this particular investigation. How do you feel about the development so far, considering that we also read in the news that he cleared out all his accounts not too long ago, a lot of money in those accounts, total value over $41 million, cedis.
Yes.
What's your thought on this?
Well, I think that aspect too, I brought that out through the fourth estate, and that is a low moment in this whole issue or saga. But the fact of the charging, I think it is good, and it is something that we should commend the Special Prosecutor and his office for, that beyond what we know, beyond him losing his job, the state is proceeding to hold him accountable for whatever he did whilst in office. And going to court is something that will bring finality to this matter.
Can you back it up a bit and just give us a background to why you went to investigate this particular gentleman and the facts of your investigation, what you came up with?
It was basically about he owning a company called Talent Discovery Limited, and this company was very new. It was formed after he became the CEO of the Public Procurement Authority, and this company was winning a lot of government contracts and selling those contracts to third parties. So the procurement method used was the restricted tendering, which meant that it had to go through the PPA approval. And so he was basically being a referee at the PPA and a player whose company was also getting those contracts that came to him and his outfit for approval. So that's basically what this investigation was about.
How long did it take for you to uncover all the facts?
Well, this investigation didn't last so much. I think it was about 3 months. So it was one of the shortest investigations I did. Some have taken more than a year, but this one took about 3 months.
And so the Mr. Ajanim Boating-Ejay, who is the former CEO of the Public Procurement Authority, and his brother-in-law have now been charged by the Special Prosecutor. With respect to court dates, what are the details?
I'm told by what the Special Prosecutor released in a statement that he'll be giving a hearing next week. So we are likely to have the first court date on Wednesday, and from there, the legal processes would kick in.
Before I let you go, what's your view on the operations of the Special Prosecutor so far? I mean, how do you assess his effectiveness and his speed, the rate at which he's working and bringing up cases? What's your view on that?
Well, it would be too early to assess. This is just one of the cases. We also know that he's working under a lot of constraints. As we speak, there is only one person on the payroll of that office. The office of the Special Prosecutor. There's only one person on the payroll as we speak. They need a number and a lot of, and I think their budget has been slashed to about less than 10% of what they were demanding. And so, until we give them what they deserve, what they need to work with, it will be very difficult to assess their effectiveness. As for his competence, it is not in doubt, but I think we should give them a bit of time, and then we can begin to make judgments or value judgments on what they are doing.
Who is the one person who is on the payroll, and how many people are actually employed there right now in his office?
The only person on the payroll is the Deputy Special Prosecutor. And I'm told they have only one investigator as of now. And so they are understaffed and they need equipment. I'm even told that as we speak, is still not using an official car. And so there are serious challenges with that office. And that brings us to the point that if we really want to fight corruption, then we should be prepared to fund the institutions that are set up to fight it. Because the budget that he presented was 1.2 billion, and that was to help set up the office and the directories and equipment and everything. But it's been given about 80 million or so, which is far less than what was given to Martin Amidu 3 or 4 years ago. So looking at the way things are going, if you give over 200 million to one special prosecutor or that office some years ago, one would expect that by now it should be getting to like 500 million. Because they've been given a huge office, they have to fill it and do all manner of things, forensics and all. But we are seeing a significant slash of what this office got years ago, and that makes us question if the government is really committed to the fight against corruption.
Is he expected to raise funds through internally generated activity or what? I mean, how is it supposed to work?
Well, the special prosecutor cannot sell tomatoes or and if you want them to be independent, then you have to fund them to be independent. Sometimes some donor agencies may help, but that shouldn't be the mainstay of that office. The government of the Republic of Ghana has a responsibility to resource that office and make it functional, because corruption is such a big problem. And if that office is properly resourced, it will be able to even generate funds for the state.
If you were at post, would you still be working under such huge constraints if you were the SP?
Well, I would, because those who are depriving that office of the funds, or those who do not want that office to succeed, may have a reason they don't want that office to succeed, and that reason will not be in the interest of the country. And even as journalists, I can tell you we work under serious constraints to do some of these investigations. If I told you what I go through, somebody may ask, so why are you still even doing it? So those constraints will be there. I only hope that Ghanaians would put pressure on the state to fund it, and perhaps would be a bit more patient and understand the constraints before we jump to conclusions.
When can we expect the next expose from the Fourth Estate to be published?
Very soon.
How soon is your very soon?
Very soon, Kafi.
We'll leave it here. Manasseh Azure Awuni is the managing editor of the Fourth Estate, and Manasseh was the investigator on the issue of the former boss of the Public Procurement Authority, Ajanim Boating, together with his brother-in-law, have been charged by the Special Prosecutor with corruption offenses. The duo were found to have been involved in corruption in the contracts for sale scandal. Mr. Boating Ajay has been charged with 8 counts of using public office for profit and 9 counts of directly and indirectly influencing the procurement process to obtain an unfair advantage in the award of a procurement contract. His brother-in-law, Francis Kweku Ahin, is facing a charge of using a public office for profit. The 2 persons will be arraigned before the High Court in Accra